God lie in Genesis 2:17? I had someone ask me this in the comments the other day, so I figured we should take a closer look. Now, if we take a look at it at surface value, yeah, it does kind of seem like God is lying in Genesis 2:17. But the thing is that even conservative estimates for the age of Genesis put it at 2,500 years old. So when we're talking about a document that spans thousands of years of culture and generations and comes from a very different language, we owe it a bit more than just a surface level read. So when I'm studying ancient texts, I like to take the certain word or phrase in question that I'm examining and see how it's used elsewhere. So in my analysis of Genesis 2:17, I focused in a bit on the phrase, "You shall surely die," or mot Tamut, as it's read in Hebrew. And I found a similar usage of it in 1 Kings 2:37. Specifically, the phrase from this verse, "For on the day you go out and cross the brook Kidron, know for certain that you shall die." Now, the context here makes me read this more as a sentencing, not as the judgment will be executed on the same day that you leave this area. It's like how a judge can decree a death sentence, but they're not liars if it doesn't happen the same day. So I'd argue the phraseology of Genesis 2:17 is more of God saying that your sentencing of death will be decreed rather than you will drop dead on that day. It's a reasonable explanation, but I think there's a better way to approach this. So if we go down to Genesis 3 and we're looking at what happens when God is putting out the curses, we have Genesis 3:21. "And the Lord God made for Adam and for his wife garments of skins and clothed them." Now this is interesting here because this is a subtle nuance a lot of people miss, where this is implying the first blood sacrifice in the Bible. So if we go back over to Genesis 2:17, I'd argue there's an unspoken implication, and it's that Adam and Eve are choosing to do it willfully out of defiance, not out of deception. And so because they are deceived, God is then able to intervene and offer a blood sacrifice to cover that immediate consequence of death, even though they will eventually die. And this theologically fits perfectly with the precedent that we see leading up into the New Testament. So in summary, I'd argue that God isn't lying here. One, because we can understand the phrase, "you shall surely die," as a sentencing, not necessarily as a, "you're going to drop dead on this day." But two, also because of the unspoken principle that I think exists in Genesis 2:17, where God is speaking to, "If you eat of this in an act of defiance against me, you're going to die," versus "if you're deceived." I think because of the deception, God is able to have a little bit more grace there. Well, what do you think? Do you think this explains it, or did I miss something here? Drop a comment below if you have something to add. Love to hear from you, and be sure to like and subscribe for more.